up? This is JM, host of the Celebrity Grill podcast on iTunes, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Network. All barbecue and grilling, all the time.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show, a show that has recently started talking about barbecue and grilling. We do it live from the BBQ Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, and the barbecue capital of the North Coast, Cleveland, Ohio. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here. 120 minutes on the countdown. If you have always thought to yourself, I want to get in touch with the show, I need to call the show, I need to email the show, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening, and boy, do we have a doozy. We are rounding out the month of April here over the next 2 weeks. And third week of the month brings a spectacularly guest-laden show. First hour stacked with regulars, 14 past the hour. He is a BBQ Hall of Fame'er, a prolific, perhaps the most prolific barbecue and live fire cookbook author on the face of the earth, the likes that we will probably never see again. He puts on cooking classes. He does TV shows. We'll be talking about that this evening as well. It is, of course, the third Tuesday of the month. First guest, Stephen Raichlen, joining me. Plenty to talk to Stephen about. Looking forward to catching up with him. And then 35 past the hour, the other third Tuesday of the month recurring guest, the creator of GrillGirl.com, a now budding SCA Steak Cook-Off Association contestant, as she has just wrapped her second contest. We'll be talking about that as well. We'll also be hitting a few of her most favorite recipes on her new cookbook that's coming out early next month. That is, of course, Robyn Lindars, and then we will transition to the second hour where we have one newbie and one first-time guest, and it's been a little while. Let me reload and let me reset here. 14 past the second hour. Veterans Q founder Steve Lulofs, or Lulofs, will be joining me. If you are on social media, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, Veterans Q, very prominent nowadays. Not a business that has been around a tremendous amount of time, a handful of years here, but growing very quickly and gaining a lot of popularity, but a really great story that backs up this whole thing that I want to really break down and get into. Certainly we'll talk about the rubs and the sauces, the products that they're doing, but a much bigger thing going on with Veterans Q that I wanted to have them on and talk to them about. And then 35 past and helping me close out the show. Hey now, you remember, was it a year, maybe 2 years ago? What was the big thing? Well, we love the Barbecue Guru. It works great on ceramics. It works great on bullet-style smokers and kettle grills. But what about the big offset smokers? My next guest decided to tackle that segment. And I am welcoming back for the second time on this show the creator of the Perfect Draft BBQ Blower system, Stephen Thibodeaux, will be joining me. Now, if you are keeping track, everybody aside from Robyn is named Steve or Steven. Stephen Raichlen, Steve Lulofs, and Stephen Thibodeaux. So it is a Steve/Stephen night, except for Robyn. We can call Robyn, Steve Lindars if we want, just to keep it consistent where all 4 guests are named Steve. We probably won't do that. Or we will do it once and then be summarily bashed, and that will be it. But nevertheless, that's your lineup, 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter. Please do that. I am providing some pretty good extra content over on those handles. /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. You can also get the video stream there as well. I don't monitor the chat, but that's all right. Jump over to the Facebook page. Jump over to the YouTube page. If you go to my website and then click on the YouTube Live button right there at the top, you can mix in with the likes of Sean81073, John Dawson, Steve Ray, Stover, a.k.a. Barbecue Hunk. John Solberg is in. Doug Scheiding will be in shortly, just to name a few right off the top of my head. So if you like to interact with folks, and it's something I do keep an eye on, so perhaps that does or does not hold any weight with you, there you go. All right, so while some of you thought my tire rant last week was one of the best ever, one of you tools thought it was the worst story ever. In a post that can be found on the show Facebook page, and I quote, believe it or not, from a guy named Steven. It's a theme tonight. Steven Bruckler, Greg, you really need to lay off your rants. All of your listeners, who don't have to be, by the way, wasted 10 minutes of our lives listening to you whine about your flat tire experience. Okay, we get it. That shit harkens back to the Obama administration. By all means, express your discontent, but please spare us the play-by-play. Boring! Steven, first and foremost, thank you so much for listening to the show, subscribing to the show, which I guess you're doing via podcast because of when you posted. Your listenership is truly appreciated. Truly appreciated. The fact that you took time out of your day to give me that feedback, to try and make the show better, truly appreciate it. That being said, I have some pretty unfortunate news for you, Steven. I'm not sure if you've been listening to the show over the past few months, but I have been doing a lot of show banning and a lot of internet banning. And Steven, with your tone and those words, you have garnered an utter and complete internet banning. You're gone.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Not only from this show, but from the internet entirely. You know, each week, and for the past 11 years, I bring to you barbecue and grilling related interviews with the industry's leading opinion makers, BBQ Hall of Famers, book writers, bloggers, competition cooks, the list goes on. And you won't allow me a few minutes of self-indulgence to recount the great tire tragedy of 2019? What kind of barbecue maniac are you, Steven? Don't you want to see all sides of me? Don't you want to know something more than just the live fire stuff from me? Do you hate it when I have my kids on for 5 minutes every so often? Do you think about hanging yourself from the nearest steel beam when neighbor Desmond comes on the show? Did my rant about the college admissions scandal make you want to run to the garage and do deep lung hits from the tailpipe of your running car to end the misery as quickly as possible, Steven? I can only assume yes. Let's make a deal. You start your own barbecue and grilling show and then run it out for like 11 years or so, and then I'll start thinking about taking your advice. You think you can do a show for 11 years, Steven? Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the 2019 NBBQA's Best Audio Podcast recipient just called it quits after 100 episodes? 100 episodes! And that's not even a barbecue show for the most part. For perspective, I have about 6 times more shows under my belt than that one. By the way, Steven, do us all a favor and change that profile picture on Facebook. In a word, weird.
Get that big stuff out of here.
And for those of you who are watching here on the Facebooks or the YouTubes, this is the profile picture. Whoa! That's the guy that's making fun of me. That's the guy who's saying your rant is boring and your flat tiredness is lame and flat tires were taken out of cars since the Obama administration. Was that a shot at Obama? I don't want to let politics run into this. But Steven, in case you forgot, you are completely banned from the internet. That's it. You're banned. So I would like your feedback after this rant, but of course, I'm not going to get it because not only are you banned from listening to the show because I have unsubscribed you from the podcast, you are also banned from the worldwide internet. Worldwide internet. Sweet bangs, by the way, bro. Sweet bangs. Steven Raichlen coming up onto the break. I want to talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills. Oh, yeah. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market. 3 different sizes to choose from. Now, believe it or not, tailgating season is not that too far in the offing. So you want something that you're going to be able to take with you, something that's portable. However, something that you're not sacrificing a ton of capacity for, even though you want portability. Well, let me introduce you to my good friend, the Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett, by the way, was the first that was introduced with that 12-volt power technology. Now the Jim Bowie and the Daniel Boone also have it as well. Precision fan, increase in pellet consumption. As far as efficiency is concerned, not increase in pellet consumption, but increase in pellet efficiency. Now they have the classic line. They also have the prime line that I've been talking about for the last handful of weeks. That prime line, much more robust chassis. Plus you have peaker windows, that's what I call them, in the pellet hopper, so you can see where your pellet level is at. And you can also look into the cooking chamber. You know that old fad of, or that old wives' tale of if you're looking, you're not cooking? Meathead has debunked that. That's not true at all. But you don't have to look or open the lid now. You can just look right into the cooking chamber. And I know what you're thinking. Grease is going to splatter. It's going to be a nightmare. I myself had a grill, not a Green Mountain grill, but a grill that had a plastic or what's the fancy word for that plastic? Lexan glass. Smoked right up. Here with a little elbow grease, some plastic wool, little dish soap, little water. Hit that. Clean it right up quickly. Don't forget the Daniel Boone and the Jim Bowie. Rip the guts out. You can put in the pizza oven insert. Now you have a pizza party. GreenMountainGrills.com. That is GreenMountainGrills.com. They have pellets to fire those cookers. They have special-made sauces, special-made rubs, a full line of support videos. You can look at my man Sterling Smith if you want, who is one of their big representatives. He's an accomplished backyard cook, obviously a well-accomplished competition cook as well. Big Green Mountain Grill fan. Again, the website, greenmountaingrills.com, greenmountaingrills.com. Also, unrelated to Green Mountain Grills. At some point, we're going to be giving this away. This is the new book from Jamie Purviance, Weber's Ultimate Grilling, a step-by-step guide to barbecue genius. So follow me on social. We'll give that away, too. Again, Steven Raichlen coming right up. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils. All of Butcher Barbecue products have been tested on the competition circuit as well as backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up right now. That's butcherbbq.com. And we always say this, always trust your butcher. Centralites, it's third Tuesday of the month. And that means... what did I do? Come on. That means it is time to do a segment with an icon in the industry, a host of TV shows, a creator, an instructor of very popular barbecue university class, an author of the most popular barbecue and grilling books in the history of the world. Let's head on over to the hotline and welcome back a good friend of the show, Stephen Raichlen, joining us. Stephen, how are you, buddy?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Absolutely fabulous, Stephen. I appreciate you making time, as always, here for the third Tuesday visit. So before we get rolling tonight, and I don't know if you are a fan or not, but you got a nice mention on the Howard Stern show this morning and a plug for the Barbecue Bible book. What do you think about that?
I think that's fantastic.
Are you a fan of Howard Stern?
Howard is a buddy of mine. I've been to his house and barbecue for him at his house a few years ago, barbecue class. He let me bring my kids, who would not have allowed me to visit Howard Stern without them. And gosh, I ran into him a couple months ago down here in Florida.
Really? So yeah, I was going to say, I thought I had recalled a story of where you might have done either like a private class or a big kind of get to what was the theme of the class and how did it come about?
His then girlfriend, now wife, had bought him a copy of the Barbecue Bible as a present, and he was so smitten with it that he started talking about it on his show. And all of a sudden, we went to number 6 on Amazon.com. The phone started ringing off the hook. I was on book tour, actually. I was on the West Coast when it happened. And it was, it was for a week. It was a wild ride. And then we connected and, I agreed to teach private class for him, help him up his barbecue game. And he's a very nice man.
Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show. He does have a couple other guys that are in that posse, too, that are really big live fire cooking fans. For instance, one of his producers, Jason Kaplan, is a big live fire guy that I've gotten to know recently. So not just Howard, who I believe has kind of digressed off of the meat trail. He seems to go hot and cold on certain things, but there's a lot of people in his posse that are live fire fans.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if he actually eats meat anymore, but more and more people don't. Even in my family, I got every day I'm sort of trying to ward off the vegetarians.
Man on an island, no doubt about it. One other off-topic subject here that I want to talk to you about. Are you familiar? And this is hyper regional up in that Wisconsin, perhaps Minnesota area, with tiger meat sandwiches.
No.
So this.
Tell me.
I hate. Usually, I'm not the one that's telling you about stuff, by the way. It's usually the other way around. But this is...
That's okay. I believe you should learn something new every day, so this is going to be my new thing today.
So imagine a Melba toast kind of a situation as a base, and then raw ground meat with some raw sliver of onion and some cracked pepper and some salt. Are you somebody that's going to get down with that? Because I am 100% not going to get down with that.
I am completely into it. I'm imagining some shaved pecorino cheese, maybe maybe a little truffle mustard. Hey, by the way, if Nancy Lowski, my assistant, is listening, which I'm pretty sure she is, she gave me an awesome present this week. My mustard, the French mustard maker, has just come out with a black truffle mustard, which she sent me for a birthday present. I got to tell you, it will completely change your notion about mustard.
All right. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb, Stephen, and say that the general population in Minnesota and Wisconsin are probably not using pecorino cheese or whatever thing or truffle mustard or anything like that. But I am a little fascinated that you would be willing to jump in on raw ground beef. I mean, shouldn't I be scared to that?
Well, I assume they're starting with a steak and chopping it themselves. I mean, I don't know if they're buying it from the supermarket. That would make me nervous. But
it is. I've seen a guy do video where he's bought like a packaged ground beef. He tears open the cellophane at the top and starts taking fingerfuls of it.
Well, that would make me nervous today. But, when I was growing up, that was one of my mom and I, it was one of our favorite treats was to eat raw hamburger meat. And that's just a sod comment on how the American food distribution system has deteriorated in these many years.
So do you think it's gotten worse over time, or do you think that we just didn't know any better?
No, it's definitely gotten worse. I mean, we didn't have massive outbreaks of E. coli and salmonella. I remember the first salmonella death. Maybe I was like 18 or 19. It was, a long time ago. It made national news. I mean, today it's a daily occurrence. It's just, greed, capitalism, industrialization of food. It's all the things that I hate about what has happened with food today.
Isn't it more of the demand from the American public to eat red meat at any cost?
Well, I think it's two things. I mean, I think it's three things, actually. So one problem is that, we want cheap matters. Price matters more to many Americans than quality. And I think we got that equation just wrong. Eat less meat, but eat better meat. Don't buy food just because it's cheap, because you ultimately pay a price somehow.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show, barbecuebible.com, his website. So last month you were on, Stephen. We talked about the first day of shooting for the Project Fire 2 TV show. Full shooting obviously wrapped up. So let's take a quick look back. From a high level, how does this shoot go compared to all of the previous ones before?
It was fantastic. It fulfilled a lifelong dream of mine, which was to shoot with a water background. We were on the Steinhatchee River in Northwest Florida. Absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. Fishing boats cruising by every day. And actually, you'll see a couple segments when I went out and fished myself, and even brought some fish in myself. We had a new, I'd say about a third of our crew was new, and everybody worked out great. We had a Barbecue University alum serve as our fire wrangler this year. Steve Nestor, if you're listening, thank you. He did a fantastic job. We had a new food stylist who, I want to tell you, when you see the food shots, you're going to want to just dive into the screen. We made new friends in a part of the country where, probably our political, our worldviews and political preferences and values were probably very different, but we just discovered over the course of 2 weeks of filming that people are people, and when you pitch in to work on a common purpose, everybody's a neighbor and a friend.
How far is Steinhatchee away from where you reside part of the time in Miami?
6-hour drive if you were gunning really hard, which is I did on the way back. More like a 9-hour drive if you sort of meander and mosey and stop for dinner.
So is it someplace that you think you're going to be going back to regularly-ish, or nice to visit and onward and upward?
Well, regularly-ish, I don't know, because it's a long journey, and, a lot of places I want to go in life, but I definitely hope to get back. I had a wonderful, wonderful fishing outing, met a wonderful fishing guide, and I named Crystal, and I would love to get out with her. I'd love to get up there for scallop season, which is supposed to be like complete madhouse, although it's hard to imagine that anybody could have a scallop better than the Martha's Vineyard scallop. But
right, of course.
I keep an open mind.
From a dish standpoint, was there a favorite one that you made during the shoot that stood head and shoulders above all others? Of course, we know all the recipes are great, but just in your personal preference.
Well, I'll tell you 3 that really blew us away, because they were all sort of developed out of experiments, and they were really fantastic. So one is we did ember flatbread, where we took a flatbread dough, and instead of cooking it on a grill grate, we laid it on the embers caveman style. And that was astonishing. The second was we did our version of hanging chicken, where you take a whole chicken, you hang it over a campfire, and it kind of both roasts and smokes for 3 or 4 hours. That was super cool. And then we took a Texas shoulder clod. Now, Texas shoulder, it's the biggest cut of meat you can buy and cook at home.
Yep.
And we put it on a rotisserie, and we slow spit roasted it over a wood fire instead of the traditional barbecue method. And that was sensational. I'm doing all 3 of those dishes at Barbecue University coming up at the end of May. So those were 3 highlights.
As far as the chicken is concerned, do you have some type of a tripod hanging thing, or how do you dangle it?
Well, it was interesting. We got something called an asado cross, wink, wink, right. An asado cross, which is manufactured by a company called North Fork Ironworks. They also make a great wood-burning grill. And this is modeled on what Argentinians and Uruguayans use when they cook whole pigs and whole lambs. And that's a kind of a cruciform. There are two arms at the top and the bottom to hold the legs, and then a big spike. And we leaned that over the wood fire. It was really cool.
Do you have any idea what kind of temperature you're running at, or when you're cooking that way, it's more about keeping the fire that you have versus worrying about what temperature is hitting the flesh?
Yeah, I would say it was pretty low. I would say probably like about a 325 to even lower, probably about a 250 to 300. So it was more almost like a smoking because it took 4 hours to get the chicken done.
When do we see Project Fire 2 on the television?
July 4th weekend, baby. That's
Wow.
when we're launching.
All right, that's the perfect time to do it, no doubt about it. We'll be right in the middle of grilling season and barbecue season at that point. If you celebrate seasons, of course, Stephen and I do it all year round because we're real men. Stephen, your latest book, The Brisket Chronicles, now officially available for sale. So if we could, for the folks that might be, is it not for sale yet?
Well, I'm not positive. I just got my first copy on Friday, which is always a big thrill when it rolls off the press.
Okay.
Official pub date is May 1st, but I believe they're pre-selling it on Amazon, some of the other online sites.
Okay, so at worst pre-order you can do, but May 1st looking for that release. For the folks that might be tuning in for the first time or haven't gone back on one or two of our past discussions, just a little recap on the book. And I guess you could tell from the title, it's a focus on brisket.
Yeah, brisket is one of those epic meats that is enjoyed all over the world. Most of us in this community listening to this would know it as barbecue. If you come from Texas, you know it as kind of hill country barbecue. Whoops, I might have lost you. Did
No,
I
I just changed the camera shot there.
You're playing around.
I'm
here.
a high
Okay.
producer.
Okay. If you come from Kansas City, it means something else. But brisket manifests in so many ways. Pastrami is made with brisket. Corned beef is made with brisket. Bollito misto, that boiled dinner in northern Italy, is made with brisket. Travel even further, in Korea, they've actually developed a method for direct grilling brisket where I could promise you I could cook brisket in 30 seconds per side, 1 minute to cook the brisket. And you'll see that on the show, as a matter of fact. And then moving even further east, Vietnam's national soup is called pho. It's a beef noodle soup, and the core bedrock meat in that soup is brisket, which is then served super thinly sliced in the soup afterwards. So for me, it was a chance once again to travel around the world, to focus on my favorite meat and see how it varies from culture to culture. There's obviously a lot of barbecue. That's the biggest chapter, but there's also indoor cooking. I mean, there's braising, there's stewing, there's baking. There are brisket scones, there are brisket chocolate chip cookies. There's something in there for everybody.
What's your favorite brisket? If you had to choose one way out of all of that you have experienced, which one would you choose?
Barbecued brisket, Texas Hill Country style, using a Wagyu brisket. In fact, you know what? I'm making one on Friday.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yep.
All right.
And in fact, I mail ordered my brisket from one of your hometown guys, Mr. Brisket.
Mr. Brisket.
Cleveland.
All right. Hank Kornblit. Shout out to Hank. How are you going to be using offset? Are you going bullet style? What's your cooker?
I'll probably go with a bullet.
Yep. So from a country's standpoint, Stephen, how many have you been in, through, or around in your travels?
I would say I'm probably pushing 70.
Oh. How many different languages do you speak fluently?
Well, I speak French fluently. I'm getting better at Italian. I can kind of get around in Spanish and German. So I guess that's about it.
Fluent in one other one besides American, and then dangerous in a handful of others.
Well, if you can hire a plumber in a foreign language, then and describe the problem, then you're functional.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show. So the book tour is going to be rolling out as well. What are the first few stops in case people want to stop by, say hi, and get a book signed?
I would love that. So we're starting off in Austin, Texas. That's the 3rd of May, if memory serves. And then on the 5th of May, I'm doing a book signing at Books and Books in my hometown, Miami. The 6th, I'll be up in New York for a great event at the Upper West Side Barnes & Noble. We've got a panel with Billy Durney from Hometown Barbecue, with Will Horowitz from Harry and Ida's, which makes, I think, the most phenomenal pastrami in New York. We've got the editor of Edible Manhattan. So it's going to be very interesting. And then let's see, I'm doing something for Salon. We've got a Today Show appearance. After that, I go to Atlanta. I go to Nashville. I'm in Kansas City. Unfortunately, Cleveburg is not one of the cities. I'll be in Wichita. I'll be in Denver. I'll be in Eureka, California. Where else? You know, it's May and June. It's a Raichlen bookstore.
A lot of travel, no doubt about it. So, last question before I let you go. Obviously, we have a couple big religious holidays coming up here shortly. Passover starting this coming Friday evening, and Easter, obviously, this coming Sunday. So traditionally, it's brisket for Passover, ham for Easter. Do you have any thoughts on either or both of those?
Well, I do. First of all, I'll be cooking a brisket for Passover on Friday. And I'm just going to use a simple Dalmatian rub. I'm going to cook it low and slow, 250, for probably 12 hours. Which means I will be waking up early, but I wake up early all the time. This week's blog on barbecuebible.com was written by Nancy Losky, my assistant and your hometown homie.
That's right.
And it's about how to, I guess for better word, how to pimp your ham, for better word. It's, let's assume you're going to buy a really good ham, how to glaze it, how to sauce it, how to inject it. It's actually a very clever blog she has done. And I think she's going to follow that up on Easter Day with a blog on an Easter brunch. So brisket, ham, you name it, we got you covered.
So you're going barbecue brisket for Passover, but I mean, traditionally, this would be a dish that you would find in an oven doing a braise, right?
I would. And in the Brisket Chronicles, you can read about my Aunt Annette's braised brisket, which is braised with dried fruits and Manischewitz wine. A recipe that I grew up with and that I am now, many, many years later, finally disclosing.
Are you a big ham guy? Do you like ham?
I love ham. If it's a good ham, if it's a great, real, if you can see the meat fibers and the grain of the ham, then I love it. If it looks like it was ground up and then reconstituted, I'm a little less fond of it.
So there's a big ham institution out there that a lot of people go to, and they have big lines this time of year. Are you a fan of that kind?
Of what?
I don't know if I want to mention it by name, but, it might have honey. You might bake it, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot of people think that's the gold standard.
Well, that's, I would say that's a little bit like Casey Masterpiece barbecue sauce. Everybody loves it. It's great in the way that it is. Can you get more artisanal and kind of a little bit more hams with more character? Sure you can, but I would not be unhappy to find that on my table.
All right. Stephen Raichlen can be found at barbecuebible.com. Don't forget July 4th weekend. The second edition of Project Fire will be coming out and hitting the TVs for your viewing pleasure. Stephen, always appreciate the time. Happy Passover, and we will look for you again next month.
And happy Easter and happy Passover to all your listeners, and thanks for the great job you do every month.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. There he is. My pal Stephen Raichlen, being brought to you by the Fogo Charcoal Hotline, baby. New sponsor. Maybe you saw that right there. FogoCharcoal.com. Hopefully, in the second hour, I can do a little bit more formal introduction of the new, latest, most happiest sponsor of the show, Sebastian Bussard, the gang over at Fogo Charcoal. So if you've never heard of them, then you have no social media presence whatsoever, nor are you keeping tabs. But there's the website scrolling right there, FogoCharcoal.com, F-O-G-O Charcoal. All right, we have Robyn Lindars ready to come up. Hold on a second. Last minute instructions. Let me talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Attention, anyone who loves sausage and barbecue. Who's that? Might be you. Established in 1882, Southside, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Famous for the original beef sausage, which is coarse ground and a natural pork casing, and their authentic Central Texas barbecue. All meats, including our prime brisket, slow smoked for many hours over real Texas post oak wood. They ship nationwide via the online store, southsidemarket.com. I'll get to that here in a second with some special offers. They ship fresh and smoked sausages worldwide. Shipping customers can choose to order now and ship later. Include a custom gift note and mail to multiple addresses without additional charges. All shipped items are vacuum sealed to ensure freshness and ease of preparation for the customer. Shipped with dry ice to ensure complete freshness upon arrival. All the meats are processed in the on-site USDA inspected facility. On-site meat markets for fresh and smoked products. Custom orders are also welcome. Now, if you want to eat there, 2 restaurants for you to try out. Elgin, Texas since 1882 and Bastrop, Texas since 2014. Grocery distribution through Texas and many surrounding states as well. Now, if you go to southsidemarket.com, get all you want. All the sausages, the sausage slammers, the briskets, the ribs, the sauces, the hot sauce, you name it. And then as you check out, use promo code BBQ Central, all one word, BBQ Central, lowercase BBQ Central. Get 10% off the entire order for online listeners and podcasters only. That's 10% off your entire order each and every time when you use code BBQ Central at southsidemarket.com. All right, we have the grill girl. We have the grill girl coming up out of the break. Stick around, be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your #1 source for quality wood pellets for all of your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com for more information, or you can purchase there. You can also buy from amazon.com as well. While you're on cookinpellets.com, don't forget to download their free app that will alert you to great shipping deals when they happen. Great flavors over there as well. So if you're a pellet pooper fan, get down with cookinpellets.com. Chris Becker in the gang. All right, the third Tuesday of the month also brings a visit from the creator of grillgirl.com, Robyn Lindars is joining you. Hey, Robyn.
Hey, how are you, Greg?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good, and I apologize in advance if I had been celebrating too much the last time I was on your show.
What are you talking about? I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Well, we had just bought like 20 acres, and we were like, woohoo, and drinking champagne, and I feel bad because I
you had ice in your wine.
Yes.
I do remember, or champagne or whatever. I think I remember that. It's all coming back to me. So, have you done anything
with it classy?
Yeah, have you done anything with the 20 acres yet? Have you gotten the brush hog out or what?
Funny enough, I think there are hogs on there. There's hog tracks, and actually, we're going to camp on it this weekend. So
Really?
I hope I don't just get eaten alive by bugs and just also sweat my ass off. But my husband is totally determined that we should camp on it and just get to understand what's going on there. So that's what we're doing.
So could you literally live off the land there? I mean, with 20 acres, that's a substantial chunk of real estate. Take a couple firearms and shoot and eat, right?
I mean, yeah, and I think it's a good place to be if the zombie apocalypse comes, you know? So you guys come find me if that does happen, and hopefully it doesn't. But, you know, I am a Walking Dead fan, so I couldn't go without just happening to mention that.
Can I call you Steven Lindars since everybody else on the show is Steven tonight?
I don't know. I don't look
Stephanie?
like Steve, do
How about Stephanie?
All right, if that works, I can be Stephanie.
Stephanie Lindars joining me here on the creator of grillgirl.com. 13,000 Instagram followers almost as well. So congratulations on your social media push there. Good job.
I'm trying, you know, you got to feed the feed. It's annoying, right? It's hard to keep up with sometimes, but you just got to like do it. And I think because I just read this cookbook, I also just had a shitload of content that helps me because I can, you know, it gives you a lot of stuff to post. There are days when you're not behind the grill, right? But you've got to figure out how to post. And I think a lot of it too is just engagement, and you get busy, and you just got to be on there. So I want to be like present, but then I know I need to work on my Instagram. So we all are, right? The struggle is real.
That's right. May 7th, the book is coming out, by the way. It's Robyn Lindars' book on electric smokers. So let's talk quickly about a couple of your favorite recipes.
Yeah. So, and I will say, obviously, the people in the barbecue community are like, "Oh, electric smoker, blah blah blah." But you know what? That's a gateway. That's a gateway appliance for a lot of people that starts them down their path.
Are you?
Right?
Are you causing? I don't think that that's really a thing. Like, I have an electric smoker. I have a Cook Shack smoker. I mean,
you do?
Certainly it's a
Okay.
little more
Well,
top line. I'm not here to judge anybody. If you have a bullet smoker, if you have a piece of crap Brinkman charcoal smoker, if you have an electric smoker, offset, doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you have one and you're kind of getting into it. I mean, if you have a couple really bad experiences with a really crappy cooker, that might turn you off. But I mean, let's not cast dispersions or lead any type of stereotypes. I mean, if you have what you have and you like it, I mean, that's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But people get how they get in our world of barbecue, but the recipes can be used on any kind of cooker, right? If you like to add elements of smoke, then this is a good book for you because I've been doing recipe development for a long time, and I love doing recipe development, and I'm always up for a challenge. So it was my goal to really infuse elements of smoke into just about everything. So there's a lot of unexpected things like smoked cocktails, a smoked old fashioned this is what I'm proud of. It's a smoked old fashioned, which I know you're more of a rye guy, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, in an old fashioned, it's only bourbon for me.
Okay, but I'm saying you're more of a Sazerac guy, right?
In a Sazerac, it is rye. Yes, correct.
Okay. So, but some things I did that are cool that I think is just something fun, and people actually got really excited about this on Instagram is, make your own smoked water. And I did like smoked water, and then you turn that into an ice cube, and then you infuse it with your favorite herbs or things like, zest of your citrus. And those are the kind of things that you can add to a cocktail to add elements of smoky flavor, right? And you could even smoke the peels to make the zest for a cocktail. So I did things like that. Smoked pineapple upside down cake. I did a cold smoked chocolate. I call it a campfire s'mores cheesecake. And a lot of the recipes are have paleo and keto swap outs. I did my South Florida smoked fish dip, which has always been it's called crack dip in my family, and it's. It's, I actually used to have a neighbor that supposedly he was what they call in Florida, they call you a cracker if you're old school, like Florida person.
Yeah.
And it refers to kind of the old cowboys in the state. And he was a Florida cracker. It has nothing to do with race. It's just a term. And he supposedly used to trade, his family used to have a fish smoking hut on the New River in Fort Lauderdale, and they used to trade smoked fish with the Indians. And basically, he used to bring us his smoked fish dip, and then I took his recipe and just took it to the 10th degree, and it's crack dip. But just a lot of, and stuff like venison. I have a rosemary rubbed venison, quail, because I think also that demographic, people who like to hunt. You see a ton of electric smokers at like Cabela's and Bass Pro.
Totally.
So I didn't want to leave anyone out. So, but the whole premise is that it also is junk free, no weird ingredients. So, it's all about getting rid of the crap and getting back to the stuff that you should be eating, right? And not feeling guilty about.
Did you like writing the book?
I did. I had a lot of fun with it. I also had a lot of stress going on in my life because my cousin died of breast cancer, and she was like 32, and she has a kid the same age as Hunter, so it's Hunter's second cousin.
Yeah.
So it was really sad. And then my dog died too. So all around the same time.
Yikes.
So while I enjoyed it, at one time I was like, I should totally record this experience. And then when I looked at all my recordings, I was always crying in all of them. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be sharing this, but I think it was a good outlet while all that stuff was going on. And I did pour my heart and soul into it. So I think the recipes are pretty stellar.
Did you self-publish something like a number of years ago when right around that Kingsford Invitational type thing, or did that not end up happening? Yeah. So
I did an ebook.
Yeah. So you had like a base of writing underneath you, so it wasn't totally foreign.
Exactly. And you know what was cool is I got Rick Brown. I don't know if you remember Rick Brown, PhD, Rick Brown.
Yeah.
He was my recipe tester. So what was cool is the publisher gave me someone to test all my recipes and give me feedback, which, I mean, it was 100 recipes too. I think you really need that because I was cranking a lot of stuff out. And I had a lot of recipes in my repertoire, but some of them were grilling focused. So then I took the flavor profiles and changed the methodology of cooking. But yeah, it was a fun experience. And John Solberg helped me with some things too, and because he's amazing. So yeah, it was on my bucket list. I've done it. It was a cool experience. I feel like I'm giving birth to a cookbook baby, but yeah, it's exciting to have under my belt.
All right, so that's going to be released May 7th, so very shortly it should arrive.
Yeah.
And pre-order now, so you can, what do you go to Amazon or go to your website and do all that?
Go to Amazon, or you can click a link on my website, and I totally appreciate it because the Amazon gods seem to favor you more if you do well in pre-orders, because Amazon's like the next Google, right? So they're the Google of e-commerce, I guess. So
all right.
Yeah.
So let's switch up gears here really quick. I want to get to the recap of Frostproof here in a second, but one of the other things, and this was such a great, quick recap, I think anybody that's in this subculture, we get thermometers. We get the importance of really good thermometers. Specifically, I'm talking about ThermoWorks and the ThermoPen and their other thermometer products. But it's important to every time and again check your thermometers for accuracy.
Absolutely. And this ties back into my Frostproof story, but people just don't even realize, even just aside of the ThermoPens, and they're awesome, and I like a lot of their products, even outside of the ThermoPen. I like the ThermoPop. The Signals is awesome. Anyway, I could go on and on, but people, when you buy a grill off the shelf, a lot of people don't think that you also need to calibrate that thermometer. So it didn't even occur to me when I first bought my egg until like a couple of years ago, as I got more into grilling, and it was like 50 degrees off.
50?
Right?
50.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so think about that. If you're trying to learn how to cook and teach yourself new things, that 50 degrees can really screw you up,
huge. Yep.
So, so you guys, whatever you learn from this segment, just test your thermometers, right? So, all you have to do is really get a glass of ice water and just let the ice really melt. So the water's at 32 degrees, and, you want to test to make sure it's reading that, because if it's not, then you need to add or subtract based on what it is reading. And the dial ones you can calibrate yourself. So, but yeah, so ThermoWorks as well. I've had when I was writing the cookbook, actually, I had a ThermoPen that was way off, and I didn't realize it, and it was my fault. I believe it wasn't theirs. It was a ThermoPen that had been hanging out in my glamper, my she shed, and I'm sure it got annihilated in the Florida heat. But somehow that ThermoPen ended up in the mix of my gazillion other ones, and I started using it. And then I started overcooking everything while I was doing my cookbook, which was really frustrating because, right, you're spending all this time. And then I realized that it was my ThermoPen was off, and it was off substantially. And so you guys just don't take that stuff for granted. And, I would say ThermoWorks is really good about, they have a 2-year warranty, I believe, on their ThermoPen. I looked it up today, and then I believe it's the probes that have a year warranty. Double check on their website. But even if you're past that 2-year, it doesn't hurt to call them if things are off, and they may at least take a look at it for you or give you the shipping to look at it and calibrate it for you. And I posted on my Instagram about how I thought my ThermoPen was off, and it was giving me false readings. At this recent state competition, and they reached out to me on social and were like, send your ThermoPen in and we'll take a look at it. So they're all about, I think they have great customer service. And of course, I've done a lot of marketing with them, I work with them and do affiliate stuff on my blog. But yeah, so you guys, the moral of that story is just check it. If things seem off, they might be, and check your thermometer. You take it for granted, right? Like it's going to be perfect, but
yeah.
Stuff doesn't stay perfect forever. Everybody needs a little tune-up here and there.
Yeah, check yourself before you wreck yourself. In lieu of the ice water, you can go boiling water. That's 212 as well. So if you want to do that, you can certainly go that side on the hot side instead of the cold side. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly take a look back at Frostproof. So, a month and a half ago or whatever, you were down at the shed doing that Steak Cook-Off Association contest. That was the first one. That was well documented here on this show leading up to it and then after.
Yeah.
So what did you do this time around? I know there was 2 different teams, maybe 3 different teams. What was your process and how did you fare this time out?
Well, I did really shitty this time. And it was kind of, I'm just sorry. I'm just going to be myself. I know I curse too much, but like the whole thing was like, it was fun. I had fun with my dad, but there was like family drama going in. It's like, it could have been like a damn steak competition behind the scenes reality show, you know, because like
you guys are getting into it?
Huh?
Were you guys getting into it? You getting chippy with each other?
Not me and dad, but
No.
so, dad and I came back so stoked from the one we did at the shed and we're like, oh, cool. Let's do one in Florida. Yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah.
And, there aren't a lot of things in South Florida, but this was in like Central Florida. So we drove up and, but in the process of getting excited to do this as a family, Scott, my husband, was going to do it. I tried to enter Hunter in, but technically he wasn't old enough.
Right.
So I didn't do it. But so there started being tensions on the process of how we were going to do the steak. And so Scott, who's never done a competition before, and we've only done one, but we've obviously done a lot of research on what people are doing to win, was really being a hard ass about wanting to do it sous vide.
Right.
And I like sous vide. I think it produces a great steak, but there were also a lot of variables. Like, I mean, shit, they didn't even post till like a week ago if we even had power and what that was going to be like all about. So I didn't even know what to expect. Like, I don't want to hang my hat on doing sous vide because I don't know if I have the Wi-Fi and I don't know where the electricity is going to come from.
Sure.
Right. So until I get a little more under my belt, and then my dad didn't feel comfortable with doing it. So then he was like, I tell you what, let's just split up and do 2 different teams. It'll be you and Scott versus me and your mom, and we'll all be team grill girl. Well, and then I don't know, Scott got pissy and he was like, I want it to be like just a golf game where I show up and play a game of golf, but I don't really want to take it that seriously. And I was like, well, I do want to take it seriously because this is my brand.
Whoa.
And
Look out. We got trouble. We got trouble.
So then it turned into being me versus my dad because then Scott couldn't go and he bailed on me. And then my mom got the flu a couple weeks ago and she didn't have any days off work to take off.
Oh.
So then dad and I are like competing, like we were in the same tent, but he's also done a lot more research than me. And now he's like besties with Johnny Joseph. Like they talk all the time. You know how my dad is, like he's friends with everybody.
Yeah,
and so anyway, we had fun. He did the PK. I did my mini egg. And I think I just screwed a couple of things up because I think I was trying to overcompensate because, they look for medium and it's hard for me to get to medium, just a medium. I'm a medium rare girl. So I seem to just be like, I can do a perfect medium rare or I overcook it. It's like, that's like, I don't know. And then I think, also, I think I wasn't comfortable with my rub going in and dad had his going, like his idea already down. And I was still kind of like on the fence. And here's the thing is everybody's using the white lightning now. Have you heard this?
Oh, the rub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like this is what I'm learning is that anyone that places uses that rub or something kind of like it with MSG in it. So, all this stuff is really going against my whole like fiber in the way I would normally cook a steak because I would normally be like, no MSG. I'm not going to cook it to medium. And so I don't know. My game was off, but I had fun. My dad beat me. He was like 17th, and I'm not going to say what I was. I wasn't dead ass last. But what was frustrating, Greg, is that also there was just some random stuff going on. Like there was this lady that pulled up next to us. She'd never done a competition before, which I mean, I only have one more than her.
Yeah. And
she comes and she gets a propane tabletop grill and sticks it on a table, and no grill grates, right? And I tasted her steak and I ended up spitting it out because I thought it was gross. It had a weird flavor. And she ended up placing 3rd. So I was like, what the hell? So, but I had fun. I think I have some things like, competition steaks rather are looking for a certain set of things. same as competition barbecue, and you can cook a great steak, but you have to figure out what they're looking for. And I don't want to do another competition until I take a class, and primarily a judging class, because I don't want to shoot in the dark not knowing what they're looking for. Because, you know, when you do poorly, it totally it like messes with your head a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like you got to like be like, Robyn, it's no big deal. Don't worry about it, you know? But like it does mess with you a little bit. And I'm a perfectionist. It was kind of like when I went on Chopped and got voted out early. It's very stressful. And then you start to doubt yourself and like rethink everything. What did I do wrong? Was it overdone? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I just need to get myself a little better educated so I can go in and have a stronger finish.
Well, I mean, I think we can pinpoint two of your biggest errors. Is one, you feel like your way is right, and this is a competition, so you obviously are going to have to do it differently. So you have to get over that mental hurdle, number one.
Totally.
And then number two is obviously the whole temperature thing. If you can nail a medium rare steak, I mean, I would imagine all you have to do is carry it up another couple degrees, and then in the rest, you're going to land right in that medium section, and you won't overcook it. But you want to turn in a medium. You're imposing your will onto the judges who have to judge against that picture matrix. And they're no matter how much you think you're right, you're going to be wrong. And that's leading to your frustration. So I think once you get over those hurdles, then at least you won't be as frustrated. You might be frustrated with the profile, or maybe you didn't finish high enough, but at least you're hitting the other two major things that are probably detracting from your success at the moment.
Right. And another thing I forgot to mention that I did that was like just bad, but it is what it was that my first steak, I was considering that my practice steak. And then my second one I wanted to turn in. But when I did my second steak, I was getting temperature readings all over the place. It was like 150, 115. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And then like, but then I'm like, I did, you know, just like you would see Malcolm Reed do. I was like 2, thermopin, butter, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it was just all over the place. And I was like, I feel like this isn't reading correctly, or I'm going to burn the shit out of this steak. And then it still wasn't pulling the right internal temperature. So then I ended up, and I was trying to let it come up to temp, and I was worried that that one was just too rare. So then I turned in my practice steak, and I think that's what hurt me, because that one had probably been sitting too long.
Right.
So it was just a cluster, but I had fun. My dad got into moonshine. He was like, oh my God, like my husband gave my dad the name Tropical Storm Eddie a long time ago when he got into too much vodka one night. And I have pictures from that night, and he's like hanging his head in this like fake alligator, like on the beach somewhere, you know, but there's like that point where someone's like funny drunk, and then they might get close to that point of being like don't bring homeless people back into our tent kind of drunk, you know?
Yeah.
Like the line might've been fine there, but I mean, we had fun. It was a good time. I got to spend a lot of time with my dad and crack up, and, you know, like you can't get that time back. So even if I didn't do that well, it was time well spent with my dad. And the Rum Runner barbecue team, we've gotten to be good friends with them, and they're a lot of fun and just really nice people. So, and I got to meet Rob Bagby for like the first time finally ever. And he's like such a nice, cool guy. Like we've been friends, like, but have never met in person. So.
Yeah, barbecue star, no doubt about it, and a very successful competition cook on the steak side as well. You can check out Robyn's blog at grillgirl.com. You can follow her on Instagram at grillgirlrobyn. 13,000 of you do. And, of course, you know, the pervs in the chat room are like, she said she was going to do bikini pics 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 segments ago. Yeah, you guys. I'll take your word for it, but I'm just talking for these weirdos.
Pictures on the paddle board. If you look at my stories, they're saved.
All right. Well, yeah. So
one is me with my dog in a bikini on my paddleboard in the mangroves, like in the back country in Florida.
Yeah, don't cater to these pervs, Robyn. I mean, give me a break. So at Grill Girl Robyn on Instagram, grillgirl.com, the website. Robyn, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Love you, Greg.
See you later. There's Robyn. All right, she's brought to you by the Fogo Charcoal Hotline. And, oh, boy, this is, wait. Oh, wait, did I do that right? Damn. Oh, see, I knew it. Now I got to reload that. Here we go. All right. There is 0% chance I'm getting out on time, so I got to stop that timer. That's well worth it. When did this turn into a loop? I'll talk to you quickly about the Barbecue Guru. They've always believed that charcoal the charcoal, that cooking outdoors should be easy because it can be, especially with the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition grill. The Monolith is the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. This means smarter control, greater freedom with automatic temperature controlling. Easily choose your cooking time and temperature. Let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or a barbecue pitmaster. With minimal effort, you now have oven-like precision at the grill, and you can serve tastiest, juiciest meals each and every time. You visit the website, bbqguru.com, and check out what they have to offer. If you have any questions, please call them, 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU, and they will make sure they have all of your questions answered, so you are up and running when that box arrives at your front door. Again, the Monolith has a built-in power draft fan. So if you already have a Guru controller, you can just wire that one right up to the fan and away you go. Upgrade the tech if you want, but not need it. We are back to wrap the first hour quickly. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Okay. We are wrapping up the first hour. Thanks again to Bobby Rempe.
Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.
Legal ID there. Thanks again to Stephen Raichlen, BarbecueBible.com, for joining me in the first segment of the show, first interview segment. And thanks to Robyn Lindars, a.k.a. Stephanie Lindars, a.k.a. K.A.K. Stephen Lindars. Trying to keep with all the Steve and Stevens tonight. GrillGirl.com, at GrillGirlRobyn on Instagram. And we are back with the second hour straight away. Stick around, be right back.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners. But listen, Liberty, it's a shake face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard. You have found the Barbecue Central Show. It's a show that performs weekly for your entertainment, pleasure, and education. We talk about live fire stuff and hot breaking news in the industry, the live fire industry. If you can't catch the show live, you can subscribe to the show on podcast through all of the different various podcast platforms like iTunes and Google Podcasts and Stitcher and TuneIn. You name it. Just search BBQ Central Show in whatever platform you like best, and it will magically appear. Subscribe, and you will get the first hour on Wednesday. You will get the second hour on Thursday. Don't forget, you can follow me socially. I get it, Joe. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram. You can also do the same handle on Twitter at BBQ Central Show, Facebook/BBQ Central Show, if you want to follow the goings-on in between live shows and podcasts and so forth. However you like to do it, I try and post to all three areas frequently and most of the time at the same time. So if you have a preference one over the other, it's all hitting the social media channels about the same time. Take it as you will. Subscribe or like or friend me somewhere on the internet, for crying out loud. At BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter, /BBQ Central Show on the Facebooks. Coming up this Friday on the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less, produced by John Solberg. Believe it or not, folks.
Andrew.
Wait a second. Wait. That's not what I want. Here we go.
A BBQ Central Show exclusive news update.
Well, let's go ahead and throw caution to the wind here and interrupt my take for a phone call. Caller, you're on the air.
Greg?
Yes.
This is Sean from Behind the Smoke.
Friends, this is the 2019 NBBQA Best Audio Podcast of the World, reigning supreme, calling into the show. Sean, how are you, pal?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. What's up?
Oh, I just I was reading this weekend in a magazine called Playboy, and I saw the BBQ Central Show mentioned, and I couldn't believe it. I was so proud.
Did you quickly thumb through the rest of the magazine and open the one that extends out one more page, hoping and wanting, or not so much?
No, not so much. I was very happy to see barbecue getting the love it needed in Playboy magazine.
So, what do you think from a recognition level or cachet level does Playboy have in 2019 that it might have had 10 or 15 years ago?
That's a great question. And that's a question that I think you and me and Stover and Derek and Corey, we all had some good discussions at NBBQA in Fort Worth about digital media and podcasting and kind of the whole world that we're living in now. And Playboy, along with, even ESPN. I grew up on ESPN, and I don't watch SportsCenter anymore, which is kind of hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Playboy is doing the right things and reaching out to niche markets like barbecue, because as you know, as being the king of barbecue, you've been podcasting for, 12 years now?
We just started the 11th year in February.
11 years.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Very proud of you, Greg. You're an inspiration to all of us fellow podcasters.
Well, thank you. So I had mentioned in the show open that you guys were ending your Behind the Smoke format at episode 100. So is there another podcast of some sort coming down the pike, or what can fans of your show be expecting as you potentially reload into something else?
Well, I actually blame you, Greg. You're the reason why the show ended.
Why?
Because you 2 years ago when we started podcasting, you called out all the other new barbecue shows, and you said specifically that you were the one that was going to last, and that all these shows come and go, and Greg Rempe will be here to stay. And it looks like you were right.
Damn right. I got no hardware to prove it, but damn right. I mean, it's a tough deal, right?
What place did you get this year?
This year, not entered. Not entered. Look, Sean, should I have to pay to get an award? I mean, it was a no-win situation, as I had talked about last year. I was either going to win last year and go, oh, great, I paid $75 to win. Or what happened, I'm going to pay $75. I'm not even going to be, in the running. I didn't even hit the board last year if we're a betting man. I mean, it was embarrassing. It's incredible. It's tremendous. It's heartbreaking. I mean, you've been up and down this roller coaster.
You said it, and I heard your interview with Meathead, who was at the conference. It was a great interview. You hit a lot of key points that are a struggle. They're a struggle for a nonprofit organization, but I think the National Barbecue Association, there's one thing that it does have, and it has incredible people.
Yeah.
But incredible people, leaders, business people, they don't have very much time, and to get people from all over in different parts of the country together to organize not just a conference, but to have a membership and a growing membership. It's a difficult task to do for anybody.
Sean, how's the restaurant doing before I let you go?
Restaurant's doing fantastic. We're in our 11th year, actually. April 20th will be our 11th. So, wow, you must have started podcasting right when we started Cali Comfort Barbecue.
Well, I think one of us
April 20th, 2008.
One of us took a bigger risk than the other, if we're being honest.
Yeah, in 2008, it wasn't the best idea to open up a barbecue restaurant in East County, San Diego, but we're grateful we did.
And how's my man, the biggest human being in the world, Derek Marsa?
Derek Marsa is doing fantastic. He is working on getting a second location opened up in La Jolla, and
nice.
You know, he's got 3 kids, so we're all busy. I'm waiting on a baby girl coming in June.
Look
so
at you! All
you
right.
know how it goes.
Look at you! All right. Well, if you need any girl advice, you know I'm your rock to lean on and your sounding board when frustration sets in. So just feel free to give me a text or a call. That. Yeah, no doubt about it.
When my daughter starts playing volleyball, I'll be sure to hit you up.
Yeah, I have a lot of useless knowledge about that as well, no doubt about it. So if you are, go ahead.
I heard your volleyball podcast, and I'm going to have to listen to it once she starts playing.
Yeah, I'll make sure
don't forget to tell your listeners about your volleyball podcast.
Yeah, I'll Dropbox all of those.
I really enjoyed that.
I'll Dropbox all those to you so you can go to those for reference. It's like the Encyclopedia Britannica of volleyball, Jo. Yikes. Funny.
You're the best, Greg. Thank you very much.
All right, Sean, take care.
Great job. Congratulations on your Playboy article.
Yes, thank you very much. That's Sean, everybody, from Cali Comfort Barbecue. If you are in the Las Vegas, if you are in the San Diego area and you are looking for great barbecue, legitimate barbecue, I mean, you can certainly find barbecue wherever you want, right? I mean, it's one of the most popular styles of food out there now. It has been for the last number of years. But if you're going to be out there and you want something that we would call legitimate barbecue, a great atmosphere, especially if you are pro San Diego, I mean, that is probably the sports place to be hanging out at. Oh, by the way, you can get legitimate barbecue there, so you can feed both of your fascinations and fanaticisms. Sean Walchef. And again, the 2019 Barbecue Podcast of the Year as ranked by NBBQA. So thanks to Sean for calling in unannounced and having him talk a little bit about everything there. Appreciate that. As I had mentioned, kind of going out of the first transition with Steven Raichlen, we do have a brand new sponsor of the show, as you can see right there. It is Fogo Charcoal. Look, I think anybody that is anybody knows, I mean, we love fuel sources, whether it be hickory-flavored liquid propane, that's a nod to my boy Clint Cantwell, or traditional briquettes, flavored briquettes, infused briquettes, lump charcoal to varying degrees. And Fogo is, I think, widely considered to be, if not one of the most preeminent brands as far as quality is concerned when you're looking at lump charcoal. So if you have been in search of a great lump charcoal, if you're sick of what your Lowe's might be providing or what your local mom and pop might be providing, and you're just looking for another option to try, as I say with everything, give the sponsors first consideration. That would be Fogo Charcoal. The website, Fogo Charcoal, CHARCOAL. FogoCharcoal.com. It's Sebastian Bussert and the gang out there in Florida sponsoring the show, so we give them a hearty shout-out. Might have a new background coming up. I need some help from some people in Kentucky on that. But we'll get it taken care of. I do have a tiger meat to talk about. I do have a meatless burger at Burger King to talk about at some point. But it's not going to be right now. I'm going to talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers. The #1 online shop for all things barbecue. Their curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at BigPapaSmokers.com has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself. Big Papa's has been known for the championship rubs and seasonings, popular flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Cow, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow. All proven winners on the competition circuit. Big Papa's offers 13 perfectly balanced flavors that will transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. Whether you're cooking to impress the judges or your friends and family, Big Papa Smokers' award-winning rubs and seasonings just don't disappoint. Don't forget, they also have that great relationship with Steph Franklin over at Simply Marvelous Barbecue. Put those two rubs together, now you have the West Coast offense. What else needs to be said about that? They also have a sale going on right now on the Granny's barbecue sauce. I believe I saw that earlier today, 50% off the bottles. So if you're looking for a new go-to barbecue sauce, Granny's is the one you're going to want to try right now. Available for sale right now at BigPapaSmokers.com. Aside from the premium selection of rubs and sauces, Big Papa Smokers also offers the very best pellet, charcoal, and wood cookers available today. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Meathead also uses that for all of his recipe testing. Big Papa's is the exclusive Mac dealer. They even offer special packages. If you're not a fan of the pellet smokers, no problem. Try the old Hickory Ace BP. It's charcoal driven. It's the only one that Sterling trusts on his competition trailer. If you're a backyard barbecue enthusiast like me looking for a durable and versatile grill that will last forever, the M Grill from Texas is just what you need. They're built like tanks. Not sure what kind of grill you need? You really can't go wrong with any of the grills featured on BigPapaSmokers.com. They have something for every kind of budget and backyard cook. It's clear that Big Papa's the place to go for all things barbecue. If you have any questions, call them 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA, smokers, plural, smokers.com. We are back with Veterans Q and another Steve. Stick around, be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring or connect via Bluetooth. And if you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. That's 816-945-2232. Trying to line up Ted Conrad for another segment here, but we'll see how that goes. My first guest in the second hour has gotten into the sauce and rub business recently. Also, served our country for an 8-year stint. I am always interested in learning about the stories of folks who get into this side of the biz. So let's go ahead and race to the Fogo Charcoal I got that all screwed up. The Fogo Charcoal Hotline, and welcome first-timer to the show, Steve Lulofs of Veterans Q. Steve, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How about you, Greg?
I'm absolutely fabulous, Steve, and appreciate you joining. I had no idea as I was putting this show together this week that there were going to be 3 different Steves, and believe it or not, 3 different ways. So you're Steve. The next guest is Steven, but he's Stephen, and then there was Steven Raichlen, who's just Steven. Can you did you know you were going to be part of an historical night of Steves?
I did, of course.
Wow.
We all got together and, we put it together for you.
This was a conspiracy of the highest regard in a good way.
Definitely.
Yeah, and Stephanie or Stephen Lindars even showed up. or Robyn, but whatever. I mean, I tried to go Stephanie. 4 for 4, but Stephanie, Steve, whatever. So before we get into the barbecue rub and sauce talk here and the associated business, let's get a little background on you, Steve. Where are you from originally, and where are you at now, what you might do for a living?
All right. Well, I'm actually from all over. I was a military brat. So I was born in Arizona, moved, all over the place. I call myself home, Georgia. So I went to high school in Georgia, and then I came up to Illinois for college and met my wife in school and got stuck here in the Chicagoland area.
Are you north or west or south of Chicago?
We are northwest of Chicago in a little town called Huntley, Illinois.
All right, so I have to ask because he was one of the most prolific 2-time guests ever on this show. Where are you in relation to Berwyn, Illinois?
North.
North. Like, are you 20 minutes away, or is that an
no,
hour
it's
away?
like probably a good hour and a half.
Have you ever been to Cigars and Stripes with Ronnie Lotz?
I have not.
Oh! Damn it! That could have been the coup de grace right off the bat. You would have been the best guest ever.
Of course I've been there. I've been there 3 times.
Yes, we've done it. Best guest right off the bat. So have you ever heard of that place, or do you know of Ronnie? Does the reputation precede, or is it just built up in my mind?
No clue.
No clue.
Right. He's great. He is great. I mean, the best.
He's the best.
Legit.
So let's take a look at the name Veterans Q. As I had mentioned in the top, in the intro, you are someone that has served the country here. So I would imagine that the name is born out of service.
Yeah. So what happened was veterans, I used to, when I came back from Iraq back in 2005, I kind of wanted something to do. Be part of the team, the whole veteran type, want to be part of a team. So I just started volunteering with a new organization that just popped up at that time called the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. And just kind of did some volunteer work with them for a number of years. And then when barbecue came around and I had to come up with a name real quick because the mailman was coming. First thing I thought about was veterans. And then Q, I'm a big fan of Tuffy, and he had the Q on his shirt. Yep. So I was like, hey, why not? Tuffy, military guys, got the Q. I'm gonna go ahead and steal his style.
Were you Army guy or Marine?
Yeah, Army.
Yeah,
the only military there is.
All right. Well, there's no way I'm gonna get involved in that border skirmish. You can best believe that. So, you had mentioned you were over in Iraq. Where were you at? Where did you do boot camp here, and then when did you get shipped over?
I was in boot camp in Missouri in Fort Leonard Wood. Mm-hmm. I was an engineer. So I was an engineer, like combat heavy engineer, bulldoze driver, that kind of stuff. Yep. And then I did that actually in 2002. And then got deployed and called up in the end of 2003. And then so I was in Iraq. I was in just north of Baghdad called Taji. That was our main base. But then I got sent to go hang out in Baghdad for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months. Mm. So I ended up hanging out there for a good portion of it.
Obviously not the best of times to be in and around the area, but I mean, did you have any type of interesting food experiences while you were out in the Middle East?
Yeah, it was cool, but I think I had a great time in Iraq. I was able to see a lot of things. I mean, obviously you have a lot of bad days too, but overall it was cool. I was able to go outside and, check everything out, but food-wise was kind of crazy. So you would drive by a little stand and you see 2 or 3 sheep, and then all of a sudden you come back a couple hours later and you only see 1 sheep, or, So, so we had, some falafels, from the locals would bring you some falafels. And when I was in Baghdad, we would go by, obviously go by but they have a whole bunch of chicken stands everywhere. And you kind of just yell out your window and, say, hey, let me get some chicken. And they'll run up to you and give you a plate of chicken or a half a chicken or whatever. So, that was really my gist. I wasn't able to get a whole lot of different, variety, but, what I got a little bit.
Were the flavors as kind of pungent or striking as I would make it believe in my mind?
Yeah. It was definitely a little different, a little strong, for sure.
So when did you become interested in live fire? Is that something that you kind of had a passion for growing up, or you were around it as a kid, or did you get into that later?
I got into it later. Actually, like growing up, the only thing I really knew about barbecue was my dad going in the back, with a whole bunch of lighter fluid and, burning some burgers. So like pretty much everybody else.
It's funny how like that's the nostalgia that we know, and we don't look back on it as like, oh, and that was like the worst time. You still look back on it and like, everything was effed up about it, but man, it was like some of the best times ever.
For sure. It was, you look at it back now and like, man, what was he thinking? But I still, there's nothing to me. It's great to pull out a blue bag and, and have some of that flavor and that smell. It's just good sometimes.
So when do you decide that you're going to get a little bit more versed into barbecue and grilling?
So actually, I just started. I'm pretty new. I started actually in 2015. So I like to do a little bit of gambling and, whatnot. So March Madness came around. We started doing some, squares and also doing brackets. And I ended up winning a few $100s in 2015. And I figured out, what am I going to do with the money? I was like, it's only a few $100. Let me just go ahead and, try something out. And I started looking at a GoPro, and I realized, hey, I'm not really active. I'm pretty, I'm kind of a thick guy. So I'm not the most active guy. So, so I was like, what else am I going to do? And then I was just flipping through TV, and Pitmasters was on. And, I always liked barbecue and whatnot. So I just started Googling, what's a good barbecue pit for beginners, and came upon this crazy website called AmazingRibs.com.
Oh, wow.
And when I saw that, I just started Googling, and 2 smokers came up, the Pit Barrel and the Weber Smoky. And I went with the Pit Barrel starting off because it was a veteran-owned company. And I was like, hey, why not? I like veterans. Let's go ahead and try that on, give them a little whirl.
So that was just backyard stuff, or were you already looked into competitions or catering or both?
No, nothing. So yeah, it was just backyard stuff. I just went ahead and bought it, and I received the smoker, only actually like a week or so later, and I threw some ribs on the back in the back porch, and had a couple neighbors over, and I thought it was the best ribs I've ever made in my life, and obviously it's like my first rack ever, and and then I thought it was good. I thought it was just like any other great restaurant like Chili's and stuff. So
well put.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the products here. At what point are you deciding you want to look at bringing products to market? I mean, had you gotten into competitions at that point, or done any type of a catering, or were products just something that you wanted to try and get up?
No, products actually would never even cross my mind. So after I tried, ribs for a couple times, I was like, hey, I could do this competition thing. I could see the guys on Pitmasters. How hard can it really be? So I ended up signing up for a local backyard competition, and I thought you had to make your own products. I didn't know that you could buy commercial stuff. So I just went on Google and looked up about 10 different recipes or so, and found the most common ingredients, and just went from there. And I had a couple months of practice, and had my neighbors come over, friends come over and stuff, and they gave me their honest opinion, and that's how actually everything I made. That's how I came up with my chicken and rib rub and our original barbecue sauce.
Do you know that to take it out of the kitchen, you're going to have to find a co-packer to kind of give you the mass and all that stuff, or is that all stumbling and learning blocks that you had to know across the way, or that you learned across the way?
I knew nothing. I everything I'm learning is what happens or whatever. So I kind of, after doing some competitions, and after the following year, some people were asking, hey, can you go ahead and cook for us? So I started cooking for neighbors and friends and whatnot, and then from through that, somebody was like, hey, where can I get your sauce? So I just started making in the kitchen, and then selling it on Facebook. And then I realized, hey, I was doing a couple batches, a week, and it was getting kind of annoying. So I just reached out to a co-packer that I found on our local Chicago Facebook page, and found a co-packer, and did a small order, about like 750 bottles, and figured it would last 3 years, like the expiration, and we were sold out in a couple months.
Wow. So, I mean, is that a testament to how good the sauce is, or were you fitting a niche? Was it both?
I think it's both. I think the sauce is pretty legit as it is, but I think without knowing what we were doing, I think our mission, actually was a real big part of it too. So I think that's when stores started calling us and asking for our products. Then we started realizing, hey, we actually got a pretty good marketing thing, because the whole we donate 100% of our profits back to veterans. So, and that came about because we won our first barbecue, backyard competition. It was only $100, but we were like, hey, me and my brother are on the team, and we were like, hey, we don't need the money. Let's just donate it, and then we just kind of figured, hey, let's just keep doing that. When we cater, we'll donate. And, if we sell some sauce, which we probably won't sell too much, we figured we could donate a couple $100, and let's just do that and do it for fun.
So you stole my thunder there and got into the whole donation part. I was going to get into that here in a couple minutes, but let's go ahead and deal with that. So Look, I mean, what you're doing is tremendous. I mean, I get that there's obviously a huge tie-in for you. I mean, you had time in the service. You are very interested in, or at least it sounds like you're very interested in making sure the veterans are taken care of here when they're back stateside. You are investing 100% of the profits on catering, on competition, on barbecue sauce, not into the business, but you're going back to veterans. So how are the business side of me goes, well, okay, I mean, that's great to donate a portion of profits to this, that, or the other thing. But you got to have some money to reinvest into getting more competitions in or more sauce made or supplies for catering. Do you use any of that to support that, or are you guys just independently wealthy and you're just pumping money into it because, there's going to be another couple $100,000 tomorrow?
No, I'm a broke government employee.
Nice.
So no, so what I did, I just funded funded everything up front myself, and then I just pay myself back. So I donated all my profits, but I pay myself back. So kind of like the beginning of the year, I kind of just upfront everything again, and then usually it gets paid back right away. And that's it. And then I just kind of keep reusing that money over and over and over again. And then at the end of the year, we come up with whatever we have and then go ahead and, donate what we can to we actually make sure we go to reputable organizations, that are not just, feeding the big wigs and the CEOs.
How do you go about picking those? What's your due diligence?
I do a lot of research on them. It's a lot of also from, friends since I, the last 15 years or so, or 10 years, since being involved in veteran nonprofits and being around the nonprofit, whole sector, you kind of know what to look for and kind of which ones are good and which ones aren't. So for us, an organization, for us to donate to, 80% of the funding has to at least go to veterans themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, a nonprofit is going to have, overhead and whatnot. So we figured 80% is a good number.
We are talking with Steve Lulofs from Veterans Q, the website Veterans Q, like the letter Q, veteransq.com, if you want to check it out here while we're chatting it up here. Let's say 10 years ago, maybe ignorance is bliss here if you're only into it, 3 or 4 years, but I have a long track record here in this game, so I ask a lot of questions from a very nostalgic and long, a long time point of view. 10 years ago, bringing a sauce or a rub or both to market wasn't nearly as competitive as it is today, or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago. Is that something that you had any type of visibility on or any type of concern with on how you were going to set your products apart from the millions of other things that were on grocery store shelves and on the internet?
No, nothing at all.
Wow.
The only thing I knew about barbecue sauce was Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yes.
And that's it. Local Chicago guy.
Yep.
So, I mean, I knew nothing about sauce. I'm still learning everything. My whole thing was, hey, if I could throw out some money, donate a couple bucks here and there to some veterans, I'm all for it. But I think there could be there's a million sauces out there. There's very little profit into it. But I think there's so many, they're so open. Everyone's, I think there could be a million more. It's just, there's room for everybody out there, no matter what, the more I look at it. But hey, this is great. If I could, my goal now is to, it was never to have a company until, now it's actually, hey, this is something legit. We're going, we could actually get, we could actually do something big. So now we're into the focus is trying to get our profits a little bit better. We're, searching out more things, we did some sponsoring and whatnot. And, we're trying to hit social media again. And we have a couple employees that we hire, and we have some great, volunteers. Like we have a guy named Guzman who is just over the top, that just goes crazy. And, he's there 100%.
Steve, from a retail sense, are you just online? Are you in brick and mortar retail stores as well?
Yeah, we're online, obviously at veteransq.com,
Mm-hmm.
but we're also in Chicagoland. We're in it's called, the big one's called Jewel Osco. We're in all the Jewel Oscos, which is about 200 stores or so. But we're also in multiple mom and pop stores, a couple Hy-Vees, throughout. I think we're in I think now it's 13 states or so.
Wow.
Like Virginia, Massachusetts, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, stuff like that.
And that's the key, right? You got to get into a bunch of different real physical locations, not just depend on people finding you over the internet.
Correct. Yeah. Actually, we do pretty well on the internet, but I think to actually get your numbers out there and actually make a big difference for what we want, we got to hit you have to hit that grocery store, and hopefully, it's all about the numbers games, obviously, and we're learning that.
All right. So if you are interested in checking out Steve's products, you go to the website, veteransq.com, and check out the sauces and the rubs, everything that he has to offer there. And don't forget that 100% of those profits are going to be donated to veterans organizations that they have vetted out. So rest assured that that money is going into the right hands and doing the right things. Steve, really appreciate you coming on the show tonight, man, and sharing your story, and continued success.
Definitely. Also, just to let you guys know, we're going to do a little special promo code for everybody.
All right.
With you guys. We're going to do 20% off of all your orders. So the discount code is going to be BBQ20. So everyone, go ahead and use the code BBQ20, and you get 20% off on your orders. And not only are we a good company, but we have some crazy good products, and we've received some awards from MBBQA and the Barbecue News.
All right, so 20% off. It's BBQ20 at checkout. I'll go ahead and link that up in the show notes as well and do a news blast. So, again, really appreciate the discount and sharing your story.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
You got it. There he is.
All right.
It is Steve Lulofs from veteransq.com on the Fogo Charcoal Hotline. Who doesn't love a deal? We all love deals. That's right. Go to VeteransQ. That's VETERANSQ.com at checkout. 20% off with code BBQ20. Great story. All right, let me talk to you quickly about my pal, Matt Eads. You know him as the Grill Seeker if you are following him on Instagram or any type of social media. As we had mentioned last week, the book is out. That's right. Basic Training for Everyday Grilling, brought to you by the Grill Seeker. If you are not familiar with who Matt is, let me give you a little background on him. From the battlefields of Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Bosnia, to a state-of-the-art outdoor kitchen, Matt Eads is looking to unite people through grilling. No matter the race, gender, sexual orientation, cultural upbringing, socioeconomic standing, or political affiliation, cooking over fire brings people together. There's just no two ways about it. Differences get set aside. Business gets done. That's why you need to go out and get your copy of Grill Seeker Basic Training for Everyday Grilling right now. Do it on Amazon. You can link over on my website. Click on the Grill Seeker logo. That will take you right to the book order page, and then you can grab it up. Get one for a friend or one as a summertime gift. The focus of Grill Seeker is to show readers that gourmet grilling doesn't just have to be a weekend activity. With Matt's tips and tricks, you can craft amazing meals and create amazing memories for family and friends every night of the week. The memories and the camaraderie that grilling has created for Matt, dating back to his teen years all the way through his time in the Marines, fuel the desire to spread his passions for outdoor cooking. They're also the reason he started the United by Flame movement on social media under the hashtag United by Flame. Few teasers from the book. Let me tickle you with a smoke-infused feather, if you will. How about grilled grapes and roasted garlic-infused ricotta crostini? Yeah. Grilled Nashville hot chicken. I love Nashville hot chicken. Grilled peach boats with mascarpone ice cream, just to name 3. Chock full of great recipes just like that. All easy to do. Success guaranteed. Again, don't forget to join the hashtag United by Flame movement. Head over to grillseeker.com, and at the very top of the site above his Grill Seeker logo, click the United by Flame link, and then check out the page. Don't forget to send in a photo of you cooking in front of your grill or barbecue pit or both. Matt will share it on his page. And now you're an official member of the hashtag United by Flame movement. Grillseeker.com, the website. Go to my website, the BBQCentralShow.com. Click on the Grill Seeker logo. Link over and grab a copy of the book right now. Shipping directly to you. You'll have it in 2 days if you're Prime, right? All right, we are back with the Perfect Draft BBQ Blower. Stick around, I'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content. in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, are you ready to find out where you rank against all competitive barbecue teams across the country? Visit SmokingWithSmithfield.com to check out your rank on the Smokin' with Smithfield National Barbecue Championship leaderboard. That's right, the website SmokinWithSmithfield.com, SMOKIN with Smithfield.com. There's also still a few spots left to be part of this year's Smokin' with Smithfield Committed Cooks, but don't delay. SmokinWithSmithfield.com is the place to go. All right, helping me close the show tonight, an inventor, an entrepreneur, and a barbecue and grilling fan. He also went to the NBBQA conference a week or so ago, and we will talk a little bit about that as well. But let's go to the Fogo Charcoal Hotline and welcome back the creator of the Perfect Draft BBQ Blower. Stephen Thibodeaux joins me. Tib, what's up?
Hey, not much, Greg.
Steve, appreciate you joining me. I didn't know if you were aware or not, but you are now 3 of 4 guests named Steve or Steven tonight. How about that?
That's awesome.
Stephen Thibodeaux. We had Steve Lulofs from Veterans Q ahead of you. Of course, some guy named Stephen Raichlen led the show out. So,
I know.
The second guest was a female, so the odds of her name being Steve were probably very slim. But
Yeah.
now, hey, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. I think that was a Meatloaf song, if I'm not incorrect. I know I'm actually incorrect, but whatever. So before we get into the updates of the Perfect Draft tonight, Stephen, let's talk about the 2019 NBBQA event that you attended in Kansas City. I guess, high level, what were your 2 or 3 big takeaways from the event, either positive or negative?
Well, the event was held in Kansas City this year, and it was a very nice event. I mean, they really put on a good presentation. The awards dinner banquet was really nice. A big turnout. I think pretty much all the people, about 90% of the people who won awards at the banquet actually was there to receive their award, which was pretty good. And, they put on a really professional show, really nice event.
So do you learn anything from, those 3 or 4 days that you're there that you're like, hey, I'm going to apply those things directly to the Perfect Draft business as we go forward?
Yes, I mean, I talked to a lot of different people who have different style barbecue pits, offset smokers, these vault smokers. So there were a very array of different smokers and different styles of cooking, barbecuing.
So does this, is that opening up new channels for you that you hadn't really considered the blower for, or you knew they could work, you were just looking for a door in?
Well, yeah, absolutely. By looking at the different style smokers and pits that they were using, it got my mind working on what type of adapters we needed to actually work with their smokers. And now our unit is very flexible as far as working with a lot of different smokers out there.
Stephen Thibodeaux joining me here on the show, and the website is theperfectdraft.com if you want to check it out here while we're talking and closing out the show this evening. So from a breakout session, Stephen, were there any that you attended specifically that you are looking forward to?
Yeah, the main thing we went for, Greg, was the actual award ceremony because we knew that we placed within anywhere from 3rd to 5th position is what they sent us an email about. Last year, we placed 1st, of course.
Yep.
This year, we came in 5th, and this is a little certificate here. So we took 5th place this year, which was cool.
Yep.
It was nice. And had the pleasure of meeting Myron Mixon, took a picture with him, Meathead, Hayward Harris. I mean, different people, barbecue celebrities and legends. So that was neat.
So, I mean, is that the best part of the week for you? I mean, obviously the business and make contacts, networking is huge. That's probably why you go first and foremost, but meeting those people that you had mentioned and probably a bunch of other ones, is that like the best part of the week for you from a fanboy standpoint?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the best part, and tasting all the different barbecue. Tasting the different varieties of barbecue out there, that was a high point, as well as making contact with all the different people in the industry. So it was cool.
So will you go to Louisville next year and do MBBQA 2020?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Now I'm in the swing of it. Our company is doing well. We're making a lot of new contacts. We're trying to get in some brick and mortar stores now. This is our third year. So the more contacts we make, the more business we'll have.
Let's talk a little bit about the Perfect Draft. And as I had mentioned to Stephen Raichlen about his new barbecue book, let's go ahead and kind of recap if somebody's just joining us for the first time or they're just finding the show on podcast and haven't gone back through all the substantial archives. Let's do a quick recap on the unit and specifically what it's made for.
So basically, the unit is right behind me here. And the unit is made for offset smokers, vault smokers, barrel drum smokers, and is very versatile. It actually has a switch for automatic mode. You put your temperature probe in here. It's rechargeable up to 17 hours on a single charge. Wow. We also have a new adapter here, a hook that's universal, where a person doesn't have to do any drilling in their smokers. These two pieces of metal sandwiches in between on the firebox doors. And then from there, you've got the adapter that snaps on. And, it works. It's very handy. So it's universal. It works on various types of smokers, and we're steady making different versions. We have a version 5 that's not even out yet. And, I can't wait to get it to the public and let everyone see it.
Are there huge revisions to that one compared to some of the other ones? Is that like, going from a 3GS Apple phone to an iPhone 4, or just kind of incremental updates?
It's incremental updates, but as well, the heart and soul of the whole device is the circuit board. So we're making huge modifications to the circuit board. Also, we're going to make a cover over the control panel. So it'll be a cover that protects it from any water.
Yep.
So it'll be waterproof. And, it's some major electronic upgrades on it.
Stephen Thibodeaux joining me here on the show from Perfect Draft. Is there a cooker that you find that product really shines on? I mean, certainly it's versatile and you can put it on a bunch of different ones, but is there one that might stand out a little bit more above?
Well, I think you have a Lang 84, and it works great with the Langs. The old smokers that are out there, the Oklahoma Joes, it works great with it. But honestly, Greg, I mean, it works absolutely great on any backyard barbecue as well as the professional competition style. The unit is very versatile, and I don't think there's another unit out on the market that is particularly like ours. So we're pretty proud of it. And one thing I'm pretty proud of here is this. So we've got it patented this year, and it's actually trademarked, and that was a big accomplishment. So we're looking to possibly get with other businesses out there, and like I said, get into a lot of brick and mortar stores now. So that's our goal.
From a revisions standpoint, obviously, I think I probably had one of the original type barbecue blowers, and then you just recently sent me a different one, which I'm going to be hoping to get to use here over the next couple weeks and give you a full review off air, of course. But how much does that one that you had just sent me differ from that original one? Is that going back to, again, different circuitry and brains and stuff, or were there other hardware modifications?
Yeah, so pretty much like you said, the circuit board, the brains of it is an upgrade. as well as the actual adapter. And I'm going to pull it out real quick. So the adapter that I sent you is a 2-part adapter. So you can connect it to your smoker like this, and this would be the smoker side, and the blower would be on this side. And then it can come apart, and if you take it apart, you could put the flex hose here in between, and you could get it out of the weather and move it anywhere you want. So I think I sent you all of that.
Nice. So the flex hose is not a accessory piece that comes with the kit.
Well, the standard version only comes with the adapter that I showed right here.
Okay.
But as an accessory, you could get the flex hose, and the flex hose is just an extra piece where if you want to move the blower out of the weather, this thing stretches out to like 5.5, 6 feet.
Wow.
So if it's raining, you don't have to keep it on the firebox door. And also, this universal hook is an accessory as well.
Okay, and then I guess just for people that are asking, you got some pretty high-powered, heat-resistant magnets that are on the front side of that blower that attach itself.
Right, correct. So originally, the original design, they just connected magnetically to the firebox doors. But you have some large smokers, generates a lot of heat, so that's why we have the metal adapter now.
All right, so what are we looking at? Standard issue, I got a Close, I got a Gator, I got a Lang, you name it. What are we looking at from a price point, and what am I getting in that box?
Price point is averaging around $240. In that box, you're getting a charger, you're getting a temperature probe, you're getting the 2-way adapter, you're getting the blower, and that comes for $240. And there's some other accessories that you could, get a bag and other things as well. That'll bump the price up to $260.
When you get it out of the box, how long do you got to charge it for initially before you can use it?
You could use it right out of the box. I mean, it comes where it's maybe 3/4 of the way charged up. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to, probably charge it up for an hour, and it'll be at its maximal capacity.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is in terms of battery. Is this something that over the life of the charge, you need to let it go from like 100% down to where it can't even muster a spin, and then you can recharge it again? I guess, in other words, is there a memory to this battery, or do you not have to worry about, charging it every so often and then not being able to fulfill a full charge when you want it to?
No, you don't have to worry about memory life on the battery as far as where it was last charged to. Actually, if the battery is going down and you have an outlet nearby, you could plug it up, charge it while you're using it. And it works just fine. It doesn't damage the battery or anything. The one thing you can't do is if you lose the charger, don't just pick up a charger from your next electronic and plug it in, because that's not going to work.
Stephen, from a demo standpoint, obviously you can go onto YouTube, you can go onto your website and check out all the videos that you have up there to kind of get a how-to, but is there any kind of a return policy that you have, so if somebody buys it and it just doesn't seem to work out for them, that you honor?
Absolutely. Hey, it's a money back guarantee. If you decided, you take it out the box, you look at it and think, I don't really need this, you can return it and you'll get your money back. If you hooked it up and you tried it out once and it's not damaged or anything, there's a 14-day return policy on it, and you'll get your 100% money back.
Are there any other products that you're working on that would either work in concert or just be something different that would be under the company umbrella?
Well, mainly to adapt the blower to various types of smokers. There's so many different air openings on these smokers. I mean, you can't cover them all. So we're just looking at trying to get the majority of them where we adapt to them without people having to make modifications to their smokers.
Would you be looking at like or maybe did you go to HPBA Expo this year in Dallas?
You know what? I didn't get the opportunity to go to that expo, but I wanted to, but we missed it. Yeah.
So is that something you might be looking at for 2020 then?
Absolutely. We're gonna hit the big expos, trade shows. We're gonna get out there and really get exposure to try to meet more companies.
Stephen Thibodeaux is the creator of a product called the Perfect Draft BBQ Blower. You can find them at the website perfectdraft.com. Search them on YouTube, all sorts of great videos and success stories. And obviously, I am a champion of this product as well. Stephen, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, Greg, and it's nice talking to you, buddy. You take care.
All right, you too. There he is.
All right.
Fresh from the 2019 MBBQA, he probably saw Sean Walchef win his 2019 Best Barbecue Podcast Award. Brought to you on the Fogo Charcoal Hotline at fogocharcoal.com. So if you have an offset and you have been looking for some kind of a bigger, more robust automatic pit temperature control styled device, then the Perfect Draft BBQ Blower is something that you're going to want to take note of. Again, that website is perfectdraft.com. theperfectdraft.com. And again, I think all accessorized out, he said it was $260. So when you look at some of the other automatic pit temperature control devices that are currently on the market, I mean, it's pretty price competitive. Plus, it can go on a big honking smoker. I have a Lang 36. I actually drilled, because I had the first iteration, I actually drilled a hole into one of the pinwheels, and I mount it. I do have an adapter that slides on there, and then the pit blower goes right onto the adapter, and it is nice and snug. And then you put a probe into the cooking chamber and then set to the temperature you want, and it'll just keep cycling the fan, and all you have to do is add wood every so often. What I did notice, aside from just an easier combustion experience, is that the efficiency increased quite a bit. So I wasn't, pitching in sticks as often as I was prior to that. Again, it's the Perfect Draft, and the website is perfectdraft.com. We're back to wrap up the show right after this. Stick around, be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
Thanks again to Stephen Thibodeaux from the Perfect Draft BBQ Blower, theperfectdraft.com, his website. And again, if you have the bigger pits and you've been looking for something barbecue guru-esque to run on that, this is something you want to consider. $250-ish out of the box. Fully loaded out, $260, $270. Price competitive. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. All right, so let's go ahead and load out. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Stephen Raichlen, barbecuebible.com. Season 2 of Project Fire coming out the weekend of July 4th. Brisket Chronicles coming out next month early, so be on the lookout for that. You can pre-order on Amazon.com. We talked with Robyn Lindars, a.k.a. Steve Lindars. Recapped her frost-proof Florida SEA cook. Got the recount of family drama going on before that. I mean, she's a peach, ready to share at the drop of a hat. Second hour, Steve Lulofs from Veterans Q, 20% off. If you go to veteransq.com and you use promo code BBQ20, that's BBQ20, 20% off your entire order over there. And they're award-winning. The people are winning at competitions and in the backyard with that stuff. So if you want to check it out, you are helping out the veterans. 100% of the profits are going to veteran-driven organizations. That's great. And we close it out with Stephen Thibodeaux from theperfectdraft.com. Big show planned for you next week. It's the fourth Tuesday, so you know the embedded correspondents are going to be coming in. We have Mr. Meat Church, Matt Pittman, will be coming in as well. We're loaded out. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Reppy. Good night now.